What's going on, guys? Alec here from Oz Fury Gaming. Today we're going to be taking a sweet look at all that's happened this week from around the verse to what is amazing to see, the 2.6.2 production schedule release. So guys, this is of March 3rd. They're aiming to release it on the 23rd of March 17. Pause these snapshots if you want to have a look at it more in depth of the bug fixes, but basically they're just fixing up all the major things at the moment. So they've got Star Marini network codes to serialize variables to make the packets and everything a lot better. They're also working on the mega map. They've got the UI here, a lot of other stuff happening. So the next screenshot's just of all the actual things they're fixing for the UI, and the next one that's going to be just the game code in general, which is nothing too major, but it's obviously going to be important. So around the verse, guys, this week we had Tony Zervik and Chris Roberts hosting it, showing us what's been happening in Frankfurt studio, that where they've been working on Squadron 42. The studio up there is called Foundry 42, so go figure. Here they've got the grey box up for the animation for a cutscene or something that's going to be happening. They wouldn't tell us anything, but then they wanted to show us the polished animations for what we'll be seeing in game and people will be talking to in game, so that was cool to see. They're also showing off, so they've been working on personal arms, so they've got the double barrel shotgun here, along with a lot of other guns being released, including the Knightsbridge arms range for our ships, which would be awesome to get our hands on and try something different. From there, they were showing us what I like to call the blur face or lack of oxygen face. Basically, what happens is if you start losing oxygen in a low oxygen environment, so like your EVA suit gets punctured and you're not able to keep your oxygen in your suit, you start basically getting all fuzzy and blurry. So that's going to be a good thing to have, isn't it? Especially in Star Marine. From there, guys, they were showing us off this space module base thing. So basically, you better get it, put it on a moon or wherever, and be able to store stuff. Or if you're into mining, you have a mining module or hydroponics to grow food to go trade with that. I'm sure we'll be growing food in that one, won't we? From there, guys, they were showing off the planetary tech with how they got the sun here and the horizon, showing how when the sun comes up, how it sort of moves across and gets rid of the other planet or moon that's in the sky there. Showing off too from outer space how the sun's going to be working. We see some clouds there now, but as soon as the sun goes down, it starts to disappear and create that beautiful horizon line for us to play with. Also, they went on to show from inside the atmosphere how the clouds will be working in their basic form, so that was really cool to see. I was really excited for that because it means that they're starting to get all the planets finished, meaning they can start working on getting actual planets done. Speaking about planets, they've got the Stanton system star map blown up here, showing up the planets and then the more in-depth look of the actual where the planet's going to be. They started showing off some beautiful just cinematic shots of the moons, and guys, the two of them are going to be in 3.0, and look at this, we're actually on it. So you can see here they're actually getting some of this tech finally finished and worked out. Obviously this will be on their build machines, so they're going to have a lot more power than a lot of gaming machines, but it's just beautiful to see what sort of work they have been doing as they run around causing mayhem just looking at rocks, which looks like salt if anything. So that was really cool, guys. Also too, they had a lot of tech updates, and that includes the super good, that's how you say it. Basically it's a hierarchy for the different components in the Stanton system or in any system. That's what they're going to be using it, but basically it shows all the different components inside it like it's a big container and they're inside that. Also too, they're showing this mission visualizer, which is basically able to create missions so much easier and simpler and do objectives and debug those objectives if anything's going wrong. So that was really cool to see, meaning that they were getting closer to 3.0. Which brings us to this, guys, this old little advertisement, the Phalanx shields spell death for UEE Navy. Because, guys, that's obviously what must be used on the Hurricane. The Hurricane was designed to be basically a lightweight, hard-hitting ship, and that was released for sale this week. $175 US for the normal version, $165 US for the Warbond version. This ship has armor. It has armor. Doesn't mean it does anything, and it has shields and some mediocre engines, but it's all about the guns, all about that firepower. So what they're showing here, guys, is how the ship was grey boxed, and then the ideas and the concepts for it, showing how it came into placement and showing how the guns and all that sort of stuff was coming to works. I reckon it was just really cool to see it all, actually build it there. Obviously it's sped up. I've sped it up here as well, made it a bit faster, but yeah, it was just cool to see the ship and what they're doing with it. I personally didn't buy the ship. I would if I had the money because I think it'd be a fun ship to fly, but it's just a beautiful ship to look at and will definitely be a pilot's dream. Here, guys, they were showing off too the character customization, how they've been working on it and what the sort of issues they've come up against. Here they're showing different clothing additions and how they all work together and the meshing of them together. Showing off the hard points of a person per se. Showing off here the skeletal rigs and how that works and all the different skeletal points. So that was really cool to see. And they just went over how you can change your skin tone and how it all works together and how you add a head and add a different parts to their heads and stuff. So that was cool. They also went on to show all different parts of the skeleton in how it applies to us as well. So what it's going to mean for us to actually customize them, not just for the game, but for us, was really cool to show off. And I thought it was really nice. Also, too, I'd like to point out the body was hand sculpted. It wasn't like they took a picture of someone and put it on there. It was all built by a 3D artist, which is really cool. So guys, they went on to show how armor works, and how layering of armor works, and how different armor is going to have different hard points and things like that. They went on to show off your different vests, but also they showed off your grenades, showed off your guns, and they showed off the different equipment and attachments for guns. And they started talking too about culling of polys, or adding performance basically for the game. So if you've got a t-shirt, instead of having to jump over the t-shirt and leaving that t-shirt sleeve there, they will actually cull that from the game, so it allows for more performance. So the computer's not trying to render all that stuff underneath that you're not seeing. Also want to talk about how these different shoes, right? If you took the guy's shoes from the right, put them onto the left, they're not going to quite add up because the dude's pants are going to be too high, so you have this bit of skin there. So they talk about how they had issues with that, having to make them all mesh up and actually match up. So that was really cool to see, and they talked a lot about that. So I'm just doing a quick overview here, guys. There was a lot of information that they actually talked about, and a lot more technical data. If you really want to watch it, there's links in the video. Go have a look at that. Really worth a watch if you're keen on it. They also went on to talk too about the different body parts. So there's 22 different sections to the human body that they've applied for your different clothing and mounting options. So you got your shoulder, your sort of section between your bicep and your shoulder, your elbow and that sort of thing. So that was cool to see. Also too, they're showing off here before and afters of what happened when you had your t-shirt. This was in the last video too. If you didn't cull the certain spots on the t-shirts and things, or shirts that were underneath the jackets, they would basically warp through when you moved around, or even just standing there, which was really ugly. So here they are, guys, showing off two more of the body parts, and not just your arms and stuff, but actually different sections on your body and how they relate to your different clothing. So that was cool. I really enjoyed watching all this again. And then they went on to show too how it works with putting suits of armor over shirts, and how that works. Also too, guys, they went on to show different helmets and how that applies. So you don't have to have a marine helmet to go with the marine armor. Shown here, guys, actually spacesuits now. So this is your basic spacesuit, then you should add your different armor on top of that, and your different explorer gear. So that was really cool to see how they just are really making it so open source and so modular. Like, there's going to be so much to learn when they actually start implementing this into game. Hence, when. There's no real schedule for that. Here they start showing how they put in marine armor with the explorer armor over the top, and they just slowly build away from the explorer armor to the heavy marine armor. And that was really cool to see too. So just more awesome stuff showing off, blah blah blah. There's got guns going on. Also they're showing here too, guys, distances and poly rendering for those distances. So basically the different colors represent different animations and different polys. Here they're just showing off more of the same stuff with the different guns and things. I'm just putting the stuff on here for you guys to get an idea. It's all sped up again. Instead of having to watch it all, you just get an idea of what they're trying to do with the foregrips and the different attachments. Here is what they're showing their skeletal points. So, for example, this is the Sand Nomad, which you might have seen in the CitizenCon video for 3.0 when they go into the desert and they find the crashed javelin. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Shown here when they attach a cape and how that works. Here, guys, are showing how grenades will move around as your character moves. Because obviously they're not firmed on; they're just on like a little tag, showing the different geometry and how they move with gravity. That was cool. Shown here, if you've got a suit or a skirt or whatever, how when you walk it will move with the legs and the different structural points with that. And then they go in and zoom in and they actually move the calf a little bit to the right to show how it's not bound to the skeleton, it's actually bound to the hard point of the leg. So the two separate entities working together to create that movement, which is cool. So here it is running, guys, showing off the different the fabrics moving as the character runs. So they've got the Sand Nomad, and then they've got a person with a big jacket on running around causing some mischief, as you like to see. So besides this, guys, they also decided to give us a little sweet taste of what these high-res models are going to look like with the different shirts, jackets and armor. Look at that. It's just the lighting and the reflections and stuff. It's so beautiful to see. I'm really looking forward to actually being able to get my hands on this in game. Then they gave a sneak peek of customization, guys. They said this is not a final version, this is just a straight up basically alpha version of it, and showing how there's millions of different options to create your character. So basically imagine Mass Effect, and that's what they did. They've just got all these amazing different facial and just body functions that you can change around with your character. See here with the chins, they're playing around with your neck and chin and all that sort of stuff. Zooming in on your different texturing for your eyes and that sort of thing, and the pigmentation. It's just incredible the sort of power that they're going to be giving us to create our characters if this is what it comes in the game. But this is what they're working on, and apparently it's nearly there. They've had to outsource this to another company, so it's really cool to see what they're doing there, guys. I'm really psyched for this. They're showing here too just the different talking between different characters and how the facial expressions and facial movements move depending on who you use and stuff. So I really like that. So after this, guys, they had Citizens of the Verse. They had Turellian there talking about him and how he's done some really amazing animations. They've taken the Star Citizen tech, or the assets, and he's created a movie into it, which was just awesome to see. They've got some screenshots or just snapshots of what they've been doing with it. So it's not just him. He's got a full crew who they all work together. I think it's about 20 to 30 different people working to make these movies. So number 2 is coming out, and there should be a third one. They're not sure what's going after that, but yeah, you see they've got an Idris and a Gladius and all different NPCs in the game, and got some animation work happening. So it was really cool to see someone take this stuff and really build on it. Like, I'd never seen it or heard of it until Citizens of the Stars, so I really thought it was amazing that they did show him off. Also, guys, they had West Sage built this Xi'an sword, completely rendered by himself, amazing to see. They had GTG build Echo 11 in Google SketchUp. So guys, Warby gave us a sweet looking switchboard that was for the ships and Star Citizen, so he's playing with self-destruct there and he's turned that off. Really cool to see that being done. Then they had Dastro come in and do the Cyberpunk 2770 trailer for that game in Star Citizen 2. That was cool to see, just something different. He won MVP for the week in Citizen of the Stars. They went on to talk to guys this week about this 10 questions for the chairman coming up. There's no date for that being seen yet by me, so that'd be cool to see. That's about professions. They had bug smashes where they talked about the Constellation causing the bug area that basically when it dropped out of the game, like it got destroyed or was exiting, it caused the game to crash in a critical system error. Went through the code, fixed it, put the code back in, and it worked. So here's some more grey box, guys, from the subscribers den of the Hurricane. And whilst we're talking about the Hurricane, let's talk about flight balances. So in the subscribers town hall, they talked about flight balances, and they had a few questions. So number 1 was pretty cool. Will capital ships have beyond visual range weapons? And yes, so basically the concept is they want to have it that you can have a scouting ship, go out, scout your enemies, spot them, and your Bengal or whatever will be able to shoot from a long way, and size 10 guns and up, they were talking about, and completely start open firing on them. Next one was, will fighters have the higher speed than cargo ships or vice versa? Basically want to know if the cargo ship's getting attacked, can the cargo ship just outrun the fighter? They turned around and said no, that is not going to be possible. They said the entire point is a fighter is meant to be more nimble and lightweight, obviously, and do damage. It doesn't cause any actual significant sort of tension there if the cargo ship can just fly away. Next on the list, guys, they had number 3 was, will turrets get love? Basically, because obviously in the PU the turrets are quite a pain in the ass to use, a lot of lag and a lot of desync, even because you can't use them in Arena Commander. We don't really know what they're like. According to the studio, they're saying in-game or in-house they're really good and really easy to use, but they're going to be working on that for the PU. So with that 2.62 update, guys, I'm sure that's what they're going to be doing. Next one was decoupled EVA, and they want to know when. Basically, because at the moment it's a bit confusing to use when you use your different camera angles and stuff. They wanted to basically say they're going to try and fix that up and make that better. But apparently they're talking about having aim down the sights decoupled, so you can basically look down the sights, press decouple, look left and right whilst you're still looking down the sights, so you can look around the way. Weapon grouping, basically that's someone was asking if that was still in, and it is. They wanted to know if they can change weapon groups and stuff, and apparently they, as far as they knew, they hadn't been changed. Haven't touched weapon grouping. I'm happy where my ships are. Then they talked about cargo ships, like with your Andromeda or the Starfarer, if the ships are performing as if they were empty or full. And they basically talked about at the moment at their slowest possible points. They also talked that some ships at the moment are acting as if they're normal, so when you put cargo in them, they won't handle any worse because they have thrusters that aren't being used. So that was cool to make note of. They also talked about a constellations being planned to be thrown into Arena Commander. Sort of touched on that before, but basically at the moment with Arena Commander, guys, if you take a constellation in, you can't use it because it just doesn't let you. You can't use it as with other crew members either. They want to know, that was another question talking about, because you can't really do lobbies, it doesn't work with the game at the moment. They're going to be bringing that later on. They wanted to know if we'll be able to work on that, and yes, we will. Will damage hit indicators for your ship improve? That was the next question on the list. Basically wanting to know if your ship gets hit, if you've got like, a single pilot ship, how can you tell if you've got damage done to your ship? Because at the moment it's a little bit difficult. And they said they're going to be doing like, little visual effects, so your ships start sparking in your, where your cockpit is, or you'll start seeing gas flying off your ship and things like that to let you know that you're taking some serious damage. From there they started talking about mouse versus joystick. Get it right, Alec. And they talked about the old argument, what's better, what's worse, blah, 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 blah. Went on for ages. Basically said it's up to you. Mouse is easier for learners. Joystick will probably have a bit more of an advantage later on when they're bringing more advanced targeting systems. So guys, we're nearly at the end. Stay with me. So they talked about gamepad options too. And they talked about how they sort of, because as more controls get added, it gets more and more difficult to actually get the gamepad usable. So they wanted to try and basically have it as if Call of Duty, your first person looking around options and trying to make it so it doesn't flip on you when you go into ships. Next after that was talking about the Keathal, whatever it is, the Xi'an ship. I want to know, it's meant to be super nimble and super quick, but it doesn't seem to match that lore properly. And they said in fighting it does, because it's super fast going up and down with strafing and turning on the dime. The guns are way out of whack with that. They said the targeting can be really off. But they said if you're trying to compare it to a racing ship, forget it, because it's so tall. It's really hard to maneuver through the rings, and they said it's just not built for racing, it's built for fighting nimbly. Now the last thing we talked about, guys, was will key mapping come into play? Basically, this guy wanted to know, will double click versus dual press? They were a bit confused on the question. What they basically thought he was asking was, will you be able to basically just double cap Z or press Z and press X and be able to do different functions like you do with your modifiers at the moment, where if you hold it or if you double press it, whatever. They said we'll be able to change that. The guys didn't really know. They said that's a technical thing they're going to have to talk about, so that wasn't really answered. So guys, there's been a lot packed into this week. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to 2.6.2 to see how that goes with the improvements. Really going to be a make or break for 3.0 in my opinion. I honestly didn't think 2.6.2 would come out. They would bring it out with 3.0, but obviously they're seriously concerned about their network. So all the best to them. I hope it comes into play, and I look forward to catching you guys in the verse. Toodles!